What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
All right. It's a Tuesday night live stream, Radio Baloney Live. I am your host, Richie Baloney. How's everybody doing? Hope you're having a good start to the week. Hope everybody had a great weekend. What are we going to talk about? Well, politics, I guess. That's what we always talk about, but not just that. We've got other stuff too. But let's take a look. I mean, we've got looks like Trump is taken over. That's what's happening. He's been really tearing it up on this whole podcast thing. I think that's really been working for him. Aside from the fact that Kamala Harris has been having to speak publicly, that's not working out so well for her. Turns out that she's remarkably untalented. And also, apparently totally unprepared as well. Like, for instance, being asked, what would you do different from Biden? And freezing and saying, nothing. Bad answer. Bad answer. The answer should be everything. Everything. The answer is everything. But then, there's problems with that as well. But we'll be taking a look at the poly market here, which is not the polls, but it's betting. It's a betting market. So it's kind of it's a barometer of where the money thinks it's going to go. And, the money usually knows. Money doesn't care about politics. But we're seeing some very interesting polling coming out now, too. Things are not going good for Kamala. They're starting to panic. We'll go through all of these numbers, and these are very good numbers for Trump. We can see in the battleground states, almost right across the board, Trump is ahead now, and that's where it really matters, right? Doesn't matter how many votes he gets in California. Matters how many he gets in Pennsylvania, or North Carolina, or Georgia, or Arizona, or Wisconsin, or Michigan, or Nevada. That's what matters. It does not matter how many purple-haired gremlins vote for Kamala in California. What matters is how many people vote for Trump in the swing states. And these are numbers that should be terrifying, especially for Kamala, terrifying, especially when you consider how off the polls, how much of a Democrat bias the polls have had the previous two presidential elections. So if that holds, if that bias holds, that 4.5 points holds, I mean, it's a total blowout. All right, so we're going to talk about that. We'll get into that. We'll probably keep coming back to this stuff throughout the evening. How's everybody doing out there, by the way? I'm not seeing anything in the chat yet. What's going on? Why are you guys so quiet tonight? Let's hear you in the chat. Can you hear me properly? Is everything sounding good? Is everything looking good in the stream? Let me know. Now, what are we going to talk? Well, let's go through the menu, all the stuff we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about, we've got an Aurora woman here speaking out after being forced out of her home by Aragua gang members. Well, wait a second. They said that was all just imagination. Don't you remember? Hey, we got G-Flood in the chat. Good to see ya. All right. He's a good guy. All right. So we're going to talk about that story. What else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about Border Patrol agents say there will be an exodus if Kamala Harris wins. Well, she doesn't look very happy about that. That must be the exact moment when she heard that news. She doesn't look happy at all. Quote, "I'm not doing this shit again," one agent said. 4 more years of hell. 4 more years of hell. Border Patrol agents are saying, boy, that doesn't sound good. I wonder why. I wonder how they made that, how she made their lives so terrible. Oh yeah, flooding people across the border, facilitating people to cross the border. That must be how it was. Anyway, let's check this out. We've got U.S. Canada named Samadan Palestinian Prisoner Solidarity Network as terrorist group. And yeah, good. Finally, I think the only reason Canada did it is probably the U.S. pressured him into it. That's probably the only reason Trudeau did it. He's worried about losing the terrorist voter base, possibly. Samadan. I did check the pronunciation, and that's how you say it. So we're going to take a look at this story as well. We'll get into that. And what the fuck? There we go. And we'll take a look at this group. They're lovely people that like to chant "Death to Canada." Death to Canada in Canada. Just lovely. Just lovely. You can see why Trudeau brought them all in, right? G-Flood says they're on step 2 now. It's happening, but it's rare. Yeah, we're talking about the Aurora thing. That's right. It started out that it was imagination, apparently. Now it's gone to the second step, which is, well, it's happening, but it's rare. I mean, we covered the interview with J.D. Vance and Martha Raddatz on, what was it, ABC News or CBS News? Where she incredulously said, but it's only a handful of apartment complexes that have been taken over by foreign criminal gangs. Only a handful. What are you complaining about? Right. That was officially the step 2. It's happening, but it's rare, or it's not a big deal or whatever. And soon it will be. Like, nothing would surprise me anymore. I fully expect the next stage to be, yes, it's happening and it's a good thing. So shut up. You think that sounds crazy? That could never happen. Have you been paying attention? Has everybody been paying attention? Let's see. They're giving sex changes to children. All right. That one's already hit the, gone through the, that's not real to, it's happening, but it's rare to, well, it's happening and it's a good thing. I will not be remotely surprised if you see, I don't know, Joy Reid or something, or Rachel Maddow come out and say, actually, the benefits of foreign criminal gangs taking over where you live are this and this and this, and if you don't agree, you're a racist. Who would be surprised? G-Flood says, step 3, it's a good thing, is going to be rough. Yep. I will not be surprised if that happens. In fact, I do expect it to happen. Step 4 is it's Trump's fault. They might try and actually slip that in as step 3 before they go to the step where they claim it's a good thing. Because it is, I mean, that is quite a reach. particularly. But again, I mean, it's happened with other things that you would think it would just be simply unthinkable. Well, I mean, just the border in general, right? There's no border problem, but then there is a border problem, but it's not that bad too. Yeah, but it's a good thing. I mean, I don't know. The next step, really the logical step from it's not happening to it's happening, but it's not that much. The next step from there should have just been, I don't know, build a wall.
Everything woke turns to shit.
Building a wall would have been a good idea. I mean, Trump built as much as he could get done. Maybe he'll finish it off in the next term if he wins, if they allow him to win. Who knows? But anyway, let's move on. Let's see. Sex trafficking of immigrant children triples under Biden-Harris border policies report. So where's AOC crying? Is she out crying? Is she getting a picture of herself crying somewhere right now over this? No, I don't. We probably won't hear from her. She probably won't mention anything about this. Remember that picture of her kneeling over, crying at that empty parking lot? Remember that? Probably won't see anything now. Back then it was think of the children. All of a sudden, not so concerned with thinking about the children anymore. It shows you how cynical and utterly indifferent to human well-being these people are. Truly incredible. Hey, Rosie, we got Rosie in the chat. Good to see ya. Let's see. G-Flut says, step 3 would be a good satire sketch until it really happens. Maybe I'll make, I've been promising to make another animation. Maybe I'll do on a woke news network of that. That would actually be pretty funny. Rosie says, sex trafficking of children, words one hopes never to hear. Yes, indeed. Let's see. Tim Rappel in the chat. Good to see you. Over on YouTube, he's saying, I've enjoyed your commentary for way over a year now. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much indeed. I really do appreciate that. And that's the sort of stuff that keeps me going. Now, I should say, unfortunately, because of censorship on YouTube, I will be leaving YouTube after about an hour. Sometimes we go a little bit longer, I forget. After about an hour, and then just continuing on with Rumble, because we're streaming to Rumble and YouTube simultaneously right now. But YouTube is a pain in the ass with the live streams. So we'll be doing about an hour, and then after that, we'll be turning off the YouTube part, and then just continuing on Rumble for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, or just however long. I mean, it's not really set. We just keep going. Sometimes I just keep talking for fucking ever, and I can't stop. So we keep doing that. But anyway, that's what's going to be happening. And I do super appreciate anybody watching on YouTube, but unfortunately, I'm kind of forced into this. But Rumble is great, and we get way more people watching on Rumble. And almost all of the chat is coming from the Rumble side. So if you do want to come over, you're more than everybody be happy to see you. They'll be very kind and caring to you in the chat. So when we get to that point, I do encourage you to head over to Rumble. By the way, they have an app on all the smart TVs and Fire Stick and Chrome TV, Chromecast and Roku and Apple TV. So it's really easy. Let's see, Spambot Fodder, how you doing? Let's see. Let's see. G-Flood says Rumble stock was way up today. I should get some Rumble stock, actually. Wouldn't be a bad idea. I keep meaning to get things of value, and then I forget. Maybe I should. But anyway, all right. Oh, and by the way, everybody be very pleased to know that there won't be any ranting about software update prompts on this stream, because as you can see, it's fixed. My software thing is I figured it out. It's fixed. It actually wasn't that hard. I just had to turn the computer on and off again, off and then back on again. And now that it worked. So I don't need to go on a rant because it's fixed. And this whole very traumatic software update prompt thing is over now and don't have to deal with it. It's just over. It's done. The software works. I know I will never, don't worry. I will never, ever update any software again. We're not going to run into this problem again. Because now I know for sure. I always knew not to press that thing, no matter how many times it comes up. No matter how many times that thing pops up, update me, update me, update me, update me. Why won't you update me? I don't want to hurt you. I want to help you. Why would we try and hurt you? Of course we don't want to hurt you. You're being paranoid. No, this is going to help you. Look, all these wonderful magical things are going to happen with your software once you press this button. All you have to do is press it. That's why I keep popping up, even though you keep saying go away. I keep popping up and over and over and over and over and over again. Because we want to help. We want to make a better world. Why can't you understand that? Why are you so cynical? Why are you so broken? Just press the button. We're doing this for you. We're basically angels helping the world. That's what we were born for. How could you doubt us? How could you be so cynical? How could you have such a broken soul that you wouldn't press the update software button? I know you've had some bad experiences with updates in the past where your software didn't work afterwards. That's like the Stone Ages. It's all fixed now. We wouldn't keep doing that to you. Why would anybody think we would want to hurt them in the first place? We're here to help. Well, we found out how that goes, didn't we? Fuck you, software update. You were never there to help me in the first place. You never showed up to help me. You showed up to hurt me. You showed up to hurt me, goddammit. I told you I didn't want you. I kept saying no, 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 over and over and over again. And you kept coming up, kept coming up, kept coming up. You knew that I'd break. You could have stopped sending me those things anytime. But you knew that I'd break. You knew if you just kept going, update me, update me, update me, happy, 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 update, happy update. Don't you want to experience the magic of this update? Don't you want to experience the brave, beautiful new future ahead of you? All you have to do is press the button. What are you, some sort of Luddite? Why don't you go live in a cave? You're paranoid. What are you, like the Unabomber or something? Just press the button. People are talking about you, you know. People are talking about you. They're wondering. So they got me. They got me through their psychological warfare. They got me. I pressed the button. And instead of having the beautiful screen that you see now, I had to use this primitive software that comes natively on the Rumble platform for the streaming. Which, and by the way, Rumble is fantastic. I love it. I'm streaming through Rumble, but I'm using different software because it's just better right now. I'm sure they'll improve it in the future. But in any case, the long nightmare is over. The long nightmare is over. We're not going to have to deal with another, 3.5, 4 hours, however long that stream was, of not having the proper screen on. It's all done now. And yeah, the long nightmare is over. I've recovered. I don't feel like I'm that traumatized. I feel like I'm doing okay. You know what? I feel like I'm doing really good. I've really got my life back on track since Sunday. It's really working out well now. Whole new lease on life. By the way, I still have no fucking idea what the update did exactly, except from stopping me from using the software for 2 days. I have no idea what it was for. I don't feel any benefit from it. In fact, it's exactly the same. It seems to be just exactly the same. I just press the same button on it, and then it works now, and I don't feel any fucking difference whatsoever. All of this trauma, was for nothing. Nothing. It's exactly the same fucking software. This is what I'm telling you guys. They're fucking with us. They're fucking with us with these goddamn updates. They don't do anything. Anyway. It's over. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let this go. All right. What are you guys saying in the chat? You know what? I need to just refresh myself for a second. Hold on. Let's watch some sanding for a bit. Watching sanding is always very relaxing for me. Hey, how's it going? Just noticed you were sanding that. I don't know what that is, that piece of junk there. Yeah, no, that's really cool. Oh, you're pretty busy, huh? Yeah. Anyway, yeah, no, it's pretty good. Sanding's really good for your wrists, apparently. Yeah, it's excellent. Yeah. So, yeah, no, like, what is that, like a special sanding shirt? Because it's really cool. Yeah, no, I think it's really cool. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, anyway, yeah, I can see you're busy. So, it's a very relaxing video. It's quite hypnotic. Not as hypnotic as Yellow Top Cooking Girl, but relaxing though nonetheless. It gives me some sort of, I don't know, positive feeling. Let's see. Okay, what are you guys saying in the chat? Spambot Fodder says, so much for not ranting about the updates. You know, I had one more in me, it turns out. Let's see. Rosie says, your non-rant was a rant. It was. Let's see. Rappel says, I've searched everywhere to see what you look like to put a face on the voice. Well, you can keep searching and you'll never find it. I have no face, okay? I didn't want to tell everybody this. I have no face. I was born without a face. I learned how to talk out of one of my ears. Okay, so that's what you're hearing right now. So that mystery solved. I hope you're happy. Rosie says the update gave you material for your live stream. It did. It really did. I might have kind of had a bit of fun with it, to be honest. Ranting is just fun, no matter what you're ranting about. Once you get on a flow, it's fantastic. All right. So should we get on with it? Oh, what was I? We're going through the menu. We haven't even gotten through the menu, what we're going through yet today. Let's see. What was this? Oh, yeah. Horrible things happening under Biden-Harris. What do we got here? We got some Canada stuff. Here is the NDP leader, federal NDP leader in Canada, Jagmeet Singh, very confused. Well, he's a socialist, and it turns out he's very confused about what money is, like how money works. So that's not really very surprising, I have to say. There's a community note on him here too, which is very nice. So we got some Canada stuff. We'll deal with that. What's going on here? CBC is already normal, or CBS is already normalizing fraud. Well, this is a concern, isn't it? Election results could take days, and you could expect massive late-night ballot dumps, which heavily favor one party. So it seems like they're kind of setting things up, aren't they? Very interesting. Let's see. What do we got here? Donald Trump had a fiery interview today with the editor-in-chief of Bloomberg, John Micklethwaite. Here are the top 5 moments. So, yeah, this is very interesting. It's just perfect. It's just perfect Trump, this. Just knocking this guy down. It's beautiful. All right, well, check out that. We've got some other stuff. There's a big hoax right now where they're like, here, Kamala HQ, Trump appears lost, confused, and frozen on stage as multiple songs play for 30-plus minutes and the crowd pours out of the venue early. This is all just a total lie. Even ABC News debunked it. We'll get into that. It's just shameless, though. Absolutely fucking shameless. Kamala Harris. So she wants to, she's really getting desperate now. Now she's just going for weed, and she's aiming this at black men. She's really getting getting, I mean, also racist, but also totally desperate. What else have we got with her? Yeah, she might be on Joe Rogan. It sounds like, I mean, I don't think she will, but the scuttlebutt, the talk is that she's going to go on Rogan. I cannot believe for a second that she would agree to it or anybody would allow her to get on there. Let's see. Aurora apartment worker beaten to a pulp by Trend Aragua. As owners say, migrant gang took over and tried to extort them. So this kind of goes along with this story, doesn't it? Aurora woman speaks out after being forced out of her home by Trend Aragua gang members. All imagination, we were told. Everybody was told this was just imagination. Huh. It turns out it wasn't so much. What else we got here? Oh, yeah. Kamla giving astrology lessons, apparently, talking about the stars. It's very inspiring. She's such an inspiring character. Of course, we're going to go through all just a bunch of random jumbled up stuff I put together. What is this? This is some sort of ass slapping competition that women are doing now. And I am here for it. That one's for you, boys. We've got all kinds of stuff here. This absolute state of Canada. Toronto actor Simu Liu shuts down bubble tea pitch for cultural appropriation. This is one of those shows where people they have like a business and they're looking for investment in it. This is as woke as it gets. This is the state of Canada. This actually sums up the Justin Trudeau Canada perfectly, and it's quite pathetic. We've got lots of stuff here. I think that Rosie sent me this one, and we'll take a look at this. This is talking about FEMA in North Carolina and how it's not working out hasn't worked out very well. What have we got? Some RFK here that will be entertaining. This is just fun. This dog takes this girl home in this little cart, and I don't know, it's just nice. Here's a couple of dogs making friends. It's very nice. You know what else I've got? Here's Christopher Columbus bringing an end to human sacrifice in the New World. I've seen this. It's been around a while. I don't know where this came from, but I just like it because it's great. We have a bunch of memes that we'll be going through tonight. Lots of memes that just suddenly showed up in my feed. And yeah, we're going to go through those. All right. So we got all of that. Maybe first we will go to what's happening with the election. First, let's get back to the chat for a second. All right. Rosie says a support group could be started for politicians who do not understand money. Nevada says True China making the news with India. It's true. So is this a matter of principle or is it a matter of politics with Trudeau? I think we probably know which way. The most cynical leftist in the world. I think we have an idea. Nevada says he just smashed the like button. Hey, that's a great idea. Let's everybody do that right now. In fact, let's see. How are we doing? We do not have a sufficient number of likes yet. We're going to have to get on top of that. All right. Okay. Rosie says, amazing explosives from 1492. Yes, from the Christopher Columbus video. It's very good. Spambot fodder already hit the like button. I'll hit it on my own stream. I can do that, I just did. It feels a bit like cheating, though, but why not? All right, there we go. So things are looking up for Trump, like really up for Trump. Look at this, poly markets. So this is like an aggregate of the betting markets, the political betting markets. 57 to 42. So that's like, that is over 15% swing. So that is, I mean, the Harris campaign is obviously freaking out, and for good reason, right? So back over, let's see. So we have Harris ahead back as far as September 12th. She pretty much held that. She pretty much held that the whole time, and it stayed kind of steady. But all of a sudden, Kamala started doing public appearances on like The View and all over the place, and 60 Minutes, and all of a sudden people could see her more often, because don't forget, she was in the bunker. She was doing the Biden bunker strategy, right? And this, after the debate, after the Kamala Joy and the Kamala Brett Summer stuff, she was doing the bunker. She thought, I mean, she or the people handling her, the people running her, the people holding the puppet strings felt, yeah, we got this whole media machine. We got like, hey, ABC News, 100% positive coverage of Kamala. That's great. The rest of the news, 95% positive coverage. Trump, 95% negative coverage. No worries. We've got every institution. We've got Hollywood. We've got academia. We've got big tech, except for that nasty X, that mean far right X. But we've got all of it. We've got almost the entire media behind us, and that's all it needs. That's all you can do. You can fool all the people all the time. Turns out you can't. It turns out maybe you can't fool enough of the people enough of the time. Once she got out, didn't matter how friendly the interviews were. You still got to have talent. You still got to make sense. People still expect some answers, some cogent answers, some substance. And unfortunately, she doesn't have any. Kamala has no substance. It's a problem. She obviously has no deeply held beliefs, because if she did, she would have expressed them by now. I mean, I do think that her sympathies are far left or communistic. But I mean, they can't be that principled, because she's not saying them. Right? I think that what she is, she's a focus group candidate. She's a polls candidate. She's just a puppet. She's a faceless puppet for the machine. Or she's just a face for the machine, and they're deciding what her policies are. She doesn't matter, just as they did for Biden. Right? And it's that lack of authenticity and that lack of substance is shining through. So this isn't a poll. This is just where people are putting their money. And looking where people are putting their money is not really a bad idea if you want to know what's happening. It's a barometer of how people feel about it. If you take a look at the swing states here, Trump's ahead in all of them except Nevada, and he's tied there. So this is really bad news, because the swing states are the states that matter. Let's take a look at the Real Clear Politics average. So what have we got here? Now we have to keep in mind that the polls were off by 3.5, I believe it was in 2016, biased for Hillary, and they're off by over 4 points, I think 4.5, biased for Biden in 2020. So if that holds, if 2020 holds, Harris is behind in every one of these. Now, you see here, Rasmussen reports has Trump up by 3. They were, if not the most accurate, one of the most accurate pollsters, both in 2016 and 2020. They were off by under 1% in 2020, and that was still a bias towards Biden. So even they had a slight Biden bias in that. So I tend to think it's closest to this, right? Even these ones, if you apply the error that we've seen in the last 2 elections, Trump's ahead. Trump's ahead in these. And what's most important, though, because this is the national, right? This is the national. And also keep in mind, some of these polls are fairly old. Like here's NBC, that's from the 8th. Pew, that's from the 6th. Yahoo, that's from the 4th. I mean, that's ancient history at this point. I think some of them just kind of hold off releasing figures until they can get, if the numbers are not massageable. Is that a word? Massageable. If they can't massage the numbers into a result that they want, they will hold off putting out those numbers. I think that's something that happens. But even with that, if you look at the battleground states, which are the ones that really matter, well, Trump's ahead in all of them except for Wisconsin. And that's without error correction. That's without the error correction that we've seen from 2016 and 2020. That's how they actually have them now. So if you apply that error, which we're going to have to assume is there, that bias that we have to assume is there, well, this is a blowout. I mean, Wisconsin is only 0.3. If the polls are 4% off in favor of in favor of Harris right now, again, that's a blowout. Michigan, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. Now, these are small leads, right? 0.3 in Pennsylvania, 1.4 in North Carolina, Georgia 0.7, Arizona 1.1, Michigan 1, Nevada 0.5. But he's ahead, and he's ahead despite we know there is bias in the polling. I mean, we've seen it. We can look at the history of these polls, and we know there is absolutely no reason to believe that bias isn't there now. So, and plus, the momentum, the initiative is with Trump right now. So, they've in the average, they've got her still up 1.5%, which is nothing, which is absolutely nothing. That number must terrify Harris because they look at that number and they think, we're going to lose. We are going to lose. Again, if you take a look at the last two elections and the polling, that's a losing number. They can't win with that number. So fascinating stuff. It's kind of a white pill, isn't it? Of course, none of this includes any kind of shadow campaign or a fortification. All right. But I do understand that there's some states that have defortified themselves. So it's something I need to take a little bit of a closer look into, actually, find out specifically which states they are and if they're swing states. Maybe you guys could help me out with that in the chat. G Flood says Alex Jones they can only steal 7 to 9%. Well, 7 to 9%, according to these numbers, would be enough. Let's see. Spambot Fodder says the only thing sharp about Kamala, sorry, I don't want to offend you guys. Kamala is the shoes when she's heels up. When she's heels up. Let's see. Nevada says Trump hating Brett Baer is supposed to interview Kamala Tard tomorrow on Fox. Is he Trump hating Brett Baer? I mean, to be honest with you, I've seen so little Fox News since Tucker left. I'll check out Greg Gutfeld every now and then, or when I pop over and visit my mom and dad. Went over for Thanksgiving, Canadian Thanksgiving dinner yesterday, and we watched a bit of Fox there. But yeah, I haven't really watched Fox, and even when I did watch Fox, it was really just for Tucker. And a bit of Greg Gutfeld, who I like. JJ Nevada says, I think Trump will get Nevada. There have been some very troubling things happening there since 2020. You can ask Carrie Lake about that. Very troubling things, which I expect you'll see on election night and after. Rosie says, interesting that she would go on Fox. Well, I guess maybe she feels pretty confident that Brett Baer is not going to push too hard, perhaps. I mean, he's not Hannity, right? So he's about as straight of a guy you can get on there. Just like, just straight interviewer. He's not part of the, the prime time personality schedule, right? Like Ingram or Hannity or who's the other guy? Who's the other guy on there now? Jesse Waters. He's more just a straight news guy. So, but it's surprising. It almost makes me wonder if there was some deal made behind the scenes or something, because she's not equipped to be interrogated by anybody. Even the gentlest interrogation by a journalist. So interesting. Be interested to see if it actually does happen. Let's see. Spambot Fodder says, I'm sure I'll be getting a knock at the door tomorrow for that last comment, but it will be so worth it. I hope that doesn't happen. Hey, we got Radio Streamer in the chat. Good to see ya. Let's see. Nevada says that Brett will probably ask her where she gets her hair done and what shade of nail polish she has on. I don't know. I think he'll be a little tougher than that, but there must be some sort of deal to not go hard on her, or to like that she can see the questions beforehand or something. Otherwise, there's no way she'd go on. She can't handle it. She can't handle an interview, a super friendly interview on The View, for God's sakes. All right. So let's get started. Aurora woman speaks out after being forced out of her home by Trenda Aragua gang members. So the stuff that we were told was that everyone was told was just imagination. Not a big deal. Let's see. A woman who was terrorized out of her Aurora, Colorado apartment by the vicious Trenda Aragua gang has told ABC News to get a reality check after one of its hosts minimized the damage done in an interview with Republican vice presidential candidate Senator J.D. Vance. So let's actually find that. Where is it? Let's see if we can find that. Here it is. So let's take a look at this. This is the lunacy. First it was that it was, and actually, hold on. Let's go to what it was first. What did they say first? It's a good thing I put this stuff all away in but Jesus. This is the Democratic governor of Colorado who is overseeing the catastrophic sanctuary city situation in Denver. Armed Venezuelan migrants have taken over apartment buildings and now even public spaces where homeless people are camping. This is the governor of Colorado.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad.
That is a man who was born to allow Venezuelan gangs to take over your apartment complex. Jesus. All right, hold on a sec. So the governor's office says talk of a gang invasion in Aurora, Colorado is largely a feature of Danielle Jurinsky's imagination. Imagination, they said. How about that? Here, let's take a look.
Video we've seen, literally tens of millions of people have now also seen it. I'm curious, the governor of Colorado has just come out in regard to whether or not Venezuelan gangs are controlling elements of apartment buildings. And if we can put up what the governor's office had to say, I want to quote it directly, this purported invasion is largely a feature of Danielle Jurinsky's imagination. What's your reaction to that statement?
That is
imagination. Oh, just imagination. Imagination land. So that was step one. as I'm sure the chat has already mentioned. Step 2 is it's happening, but it's not a big deal. So where did we have that? Hold on. It was, we just had it, didn't we? Hold on. All right, give me a second. Where did we have it? Hold on. I have it in here? No. Did we? No, we didn't have it there. Here we go. All right, let's watch this. So this is step 2.
The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and
she had no idea what she was doing, but she served that up on a silver platter. It's almost like as if she wanted to. Maybe she feels so much shame over the constant propaganda that she knows is hurting her viewers, even if her viewers don't realize it. Maybe it's just this subconscious thing where I just can't do it anymore. I've got to. She just served it up on a silver platter. Let's hear what she said again.
The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
A handful of apartment complexes taken over by foreign criminal gangs. Foreign criminal gangs.
And that's nothing but pure and simple old-fashioned communism.
Of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is.
Apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
You can stuff it up your ass for nothing and fuck off while you're doing it.
only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs.
Do you hear yourself? Do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes were taken over by Venezuelan gangs. The bubble that she must be in, the bubble. Like, it's almost as if they've just become such propaganda robots. They're just totally unthinking at this point. It's just, here's the talking point. The producer hands her the talking point. This is the angle. It's only a handful, right? And she just spews it without thinking. They don't think about what they're saying anymore. They're just so programmed now to just repeat talking points, right? To just, repeat just whatever angle she's told to go on to use by the producer. That they will just say literally anything at this point. I mean, can you imagine saying that live in public on like a national news show? That's incredible. At no point, apparently, did she think, wait a second, this is pretty fucked up. I mean, you can see her face here. Like, look at her expressions here. She seems very serious about it, very earnest. It's only a handful of apartment complexes taken over by Venezuelan gangs. Only a handful. That's not a big deal. Holy shit. When will she be saying, actually, yeah, it's happening and it's good. It's good that they're doing that. Actually, they're doing a lot of renovations and they're really improving it. What? Like, at some point, let's not forget. Sex changes for children went from it's not happening to it's happening, but it's rare and it's not a big deal to it's happening and it's good. Think about that. Think about how fucking crazy that would have sounded to anybody 20 years ago. Sex changes for children. You would not have been able to find anybody, maybe the odd, weird, super fringe far leftist that was ahead of their time that would go, hey, that's a great idea. Yeah, we should definitely do that. We should tell kids in school that they're born in the wrong body. This shit actually could happen. We're in such a weird alternate universe right now that I would not be surprised if you see her in a month's time or next year defending Venezuelan gangs taking over apartment complexes because it's a good thing. I wouldn't be surprised in the least. A woman who was terrorized out of her Aurora, Colorado apartment by the vicious Trenda Aragua gang has told ABC News to get a reality check after one of its hosts minimized the damage. Quote, I feel like it's a slap in the face. Cindy Romero told Fox News Digital, how many gangs is okay to have in Aurora? How many properties is okay to take over? How many people who are citizens paying their bills is it okay to displace? If it was her, if it was where she lives, if it was anywhere close to where she lives, would she have a different attitude towards it? She would. I mean, I'm sure she must know that what she just said is insane, but you have to understand, she has to say it. If she wants to keep getting a paycheck, I'm sure she's making lots of money, she has to keep saying it. Even if it was her, where she lives, whatever expensive apartment building she lives in where New York or wherever she lives, right? If that was taken over by a Venezuelan gang, you know that she wouldn't like it, but don't think she wouldn't go on TV and minimize it. Don't think she wouldn't. I think they love their paychecks. She and her husband, Edward, left their apartment after filming a shootout between members of the violent Venezuelan gang. Cindy Romero's comments came after Vance and ABC News host Martha Raddatz strongly disagreed during a Sunday interview about the serious impact of Venezuelan gangs in Aurora. Just amazing. Just amazing. This is how you know they don't care. This is how you know that their purpose is no longer to inform the public. Their purpose is to manipulate the public. This is how you know. This is absurd. It's utterly absurd. What she did was utterly crazy. I mean, it's stuff of pure satire. This is how you know they're totally indifferent. This is how you know that they are not journalists. They're not trying to inform you. They're trying to manipulate you. Holy crap. Yeah, does Martha Raddatz care about this person? God, no. God, no. Martha Raddatz just wants to keep getting her paycheck or her position or social position. I'm sure they fall in love with that. I'm sure they fall in love with being invited to the right parties. All right, let's move on. Holy crap. Going almost an hour already. Let's see. What are you guys saying in the chat? Let's get to that quickly before we move on to the next story. Nevada said, look at that asshole dancing, talking about Tim Walz. Yeah. Let's see. Radio Streamer says, I'm going to have to start what I call the Croup Bell Curve. It will tell you what level of cringe needs what level of puppy video to counter. Yeah, we've got some puppies coming up for the puppy palate cleanser. For when things get too dark, when I get too angry, when one of my rants gets too intense. Let's see. Streamer says, this is just insane. It is insane. There's so much that's insane right now. Nevada says, I bet those tenants are voting Trump. I bet you they all are. Although, you don't underestimate people's level of brainwashing these days. Streamer says, I really wonder what dollar amount one of these people sell their soul for. Probably a lot, but not enough. Nevada says probably starts at $50,000 a month. Oh, I'd say Martha Raddatz is making way more than $50,000 a month. Probably more like $500,000 a month or $100,000 a month, maybe. All right. Let's see. Is there any ads for me to read? No, we need some more people. We got to bring more people in. All right. I must have lost everybody during my update rant. Only the hardcores on Radio Baloney like the update rants. But I think they're gone for good now. I don't think we'll do it again. Because I'm never going to press an update prompt again. So, problem solved. Border Patrol agents say there will be an exodus if Kamala Harris wins. Gee, I wonder what Border Patrol would have against Kamala Harris, other than flooding them with millions and millions of people intentionally. I'm not doing this shit again, one agent said. 4 more years of hell. Border Patrol agents are threatening to leave the agency if current Vice President Kamala Harris wins the presidency in November after her time as the border czar, which they called her that. Everybody called her that. They can't deny it, of the Biden administration. Quote, I'm not doing this shit again, one agent told the New York Post. 4 more years of hell. The agent is not near the age of retirement. He said that he is absolutely sure he would leave if Harris wins in November. If she wins, she'll probably fire him. She'll be happy. She doesn't look. They didn't fail at the border. Biden-Harris didn't fail at the border, or I should say the machine that controls them didn't fail at the border. They succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. The goal was never to stop people crossing in illegally. The goal was to facilitate it as many as possible for obvious reasons. Just change the demographic, change the voting, right? Just bring in voters. Not to mention the fact of lowering wages, because obviously masses of unskilled labor coming in will put downward pressure on wages. So I think those are those 2 things. And there might even be a third, which might be they need because these are almost all military-aged men, right? They might want to be sending them somewhere halfway across the world to die on a battlefield somewhere. They're going to need lots of cannon fodder for World War III, perhaps. Who knows? Another agent told the outlet lots of guys who can retire will go. If Trump wins, they'll stay. The agent added that he believes those agents who are more experienced with upwards of a decade of time or more on the job will use their skills to get other jobs. Quote, we will have another exodus just because we will have a bunch of 20-year agents saying, peace out, said another agent. Report from May revealed that since 2020, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has lost nearly a quarter of its agents. Between October 2020 and April 2024, 4,281 agents left the agency, which includes those who quit, were forced to retire, or retired early. So just all bad signs, right? None of that's good. Oh, God. Also on the rise is suicide rates among CBP agents. Jesus. In 2022, 15 suicides were reported among the CBP's agents. The surge in suicides prompted the agency to hire a suicidologist to combat it. Jesus.
Everything woke turns to shit.
It's never been truer, has it? Jesus. Quote, under this administration, they've done everything they could to make our job as inefficient as possible. They can't outwardly tell us not to do our job, but when you're watching criminals come in and get released, it sucks, said one of the agents. The number of illegal immigrants encounters across the country, the number of illegal immigrant encounters across the country under the Biden-Harris administration has reportedly surpassed 10 million. And you've got to figure it's probably double that for the people that they didn't catch. I mean, obviously, they've made it as inefficient and ineffective as possible. So God knows how many more millions of people that they don't even know about, right? I mean, there's 13,000 murderers that they know of out of the people that they know of, right? Unbelievable. It all starts to look just totally evil, doesn't it? It's all the same shit across the West, too, just with different methods. Just with different methods. I mean, Canada's got the highest per capita immigration in the world under Trudeau. In the world. It's created massive inflation. It's created an insane housing crisis. I mean, in Canada, Trudeau actually uses tax dollars and I guess borrows money so that he can subsidize the hiring of temporary foreign workers in Canada. I mean, think about that. People pay taxes and he borrows money. He's doubled the national debt, borrows money that will have to be paid back in the future so that he can subsidize companies like Tim Hortons to hire foreign workers so that the companies can pay less and then the public can make up the shortfall, all through Trudeau. He didn't start up the foreign temporary worker program, but he's expanded it by an order of magnitude. It was under Harper's last year, it was 60,000 people. Now it's 750,000. He says, well, I had to do it because, companies are screaming for more foreign workers. Yes, because you're subsidizing the wages. They can pay them less. For, I guess around the same work. I don't think the work actually is quite as good, frankly. Of course, if you're going to subsidize those people so that they can pay them less, of course they're going to scream for more. I can't stand the fucking gaslighting and lying from these moral monsters. It's driving me insane. The good news is in Canada, we're going to be getting rid of Trudeau. Polling says there's a greater than 99% chance the Conservatives will get a majority. And then it's a matter of, well, will the Conservatives betray us? I'm cautiously optimistic that they won't. And it looks like, according to the polling in the United States, that if you look at the swing states, which is what really matters, it looks like a Trump win. So, God willing. All right. We'll move on to the next story, but then we'll take a quick look at the chat before we move on. Let's see. What do we got here? Hold on, you guys. Streamer says, hey, I just got like number 7. Well, that's good for you, man. That has to have more karma. The first one gets double, and sometimes the 7th also gets double karma. Congratulations, streamer. You just got double karma. Nevada says, those update rants were the best. I was crying laughing. Well, you know what? I felt like I was going a little over the top and I didn't want to do more. But then once I got started, it just started pissing me off again. So I just had to keep going. I even had one at the beginning of this stream. But no more. I'm not doing it again. Streamer says, keep the rants. Keep the rants. Well, maybe I'll just start ranting about all kinds of things, like non-politics related. Just rant like, I don't know, like if I go to McDonald's and ask for ketchup and they don't give me any. I could rant about that. That pisses me off. Streamer says, just find a way to add more commie hate. Let's see. Yeah, it does sell it. It does. I did get a bit of commie hate into the update prompt rant, though. I did get a little bit in there. Let's see. Rosie's saying to radio that he likes the new cringe meter. Yeah, we should get a cringe meter thing going on in this stream. Nevada says, yeah, it was a commie behind that update button. It certainly was. Certainly was. A commie had to be behind it. Let's see. G-Flat says, if unrealized gains taxes happen, pension funds will dry up. No one will retire. Yeah, we keep hearing about this in the States and Canada. Fucking crazy idea. Crazy idea. Well, it would force anybody with any investments to just leave the country, right? You just have to at that point, because eventually the government will just bankrupt you. Let's see. Okay, let's get through these quickly. Skip to the end here. Nevada says, Kamala will probably hire the illegals to be border agents. Why not just go hire straight from the cartels? All right. Which I don't put past them at all. In fact, they're probably already doing that. All right, what's going on here? So U.S.-Canada name as Samadan, and I checked the pronunciation. Apparently that's it. Palestinian Prisoner Solidarity Network as terrorist group. So probably the only reason that Trudeau did this is because he was probably forced to by the U.S., by the Biden administration. I doubt that he would want to give up the terrorist vote in Canada. Let's see. The United States and Canada have officially designated the Samadan Palestinian Prisoner Solidarity Network as a terrorist entity. They call the group a sham charity that serves as an international fundraiser for the Popular Front of the Liberation of Palestine, which is designated a terrorist organization and has been since 1997. That group, the PFLP, uses Samadan to raise money in the U.S., Canada, and abroad for their actions. It's based in, of course, Vancouver, Canada. Of course. So, these are lovely people, by the way. Let's see. Samadan doubles down, says, death to Canada. Death to Canada, they say, as an accurate summation of its goals. From Tristan Hopper here from yesterday. These are the nice people here. These are the lovely people of that organization here. You can see burning a Canadian flag there after shouting death to Canada. Also, death to the U.S. and death to Israel, death to everybody. It turns out when they talk, they reveal that there's a lot more than just that. It's just the whole Palestinian thing here, right? I guess you might assume from the whole death to Canada part. After they were roundly condemned for chanting death to Canada at a Vancouver rally celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the October 7th terrorist attacks. Why the fuck is this happening in Canada? Why did we need this? Why did we need to bring the Middle East over here? I'll bet you most people preferred Canada before the Middle East was in it, before we had ancient blood feuds. I mean, what the fuck are we doing? Why did we do this? We did this. This is self-inflicted. This is self-inflicted. We did this on purpose. Of course, what's happened is that the Palestinian protesters have joined up, of course, with the Antifa, far-left commies in Canada, and now they're one big happy party screaming death to Canada. Why the fuck did we need this? Let's see. The anti-Israel group, they're also an anti-Canada. They're actually an anti-West, anti-capitalist group. Really, we'll see that as we move on. They've doubled down on the slogan being Death to Canada, saying it's an accurate representation of what it intends to do. An accurate representation of what it intends to do. What the fuck are we thinking? What were we thinking? Well, everybody was asleep. This happened. Trudeau got in. Trudeau got in with the famous last name and the nice hair and teeth. And the current day, because it's current year politics, and bestest feminist ever. Everybody was asleep, and then that happened. And then it's just been an endless series of scandals and garbage and economic ruin and cultural ruin in Canada ever since. From the man who told us, when he told us that Canada has no core identity, or that Canada's the first post-national country, that was a red flag. And really at that point, it should have been like, okay, let's get to the next election immediately and get rid of this jackass. Let's get rid of this fucking commie goofball.
Small fringe minority.
It turns out, actually, that's him. He tricked the sleepers. He tricked the smooth-brained people who could be appealed to, who their suicidal empathy could be appealed to. Their ignorant empathy could be appealed to. We acknowledge that the community was shocked by the phrase and the burning of the Canadian flag that came after the march was concluded. So this is from this terrorist group. Yet we at Samadan stand by this phrase and as the call to action that it is. We stand by this phrase as the call to action that it is. What is the phrase that they stand by? The phrase that they stand by is Death to Canada. That is their call to action. Death to Canada. Why the fuck are they? Why are any of them here? Why are any of them here? Why? What is these suicidal empathy? Time to wake up, I say. Hold on, what's happened here? Why is everything wrong now? Let's see. Samadan's official Instagram account was delisted in June for violating the site's rules against promoting terrorism. As such, the statement was posted to Thora, Vancouver, an account consisting entirely of Samadan-affiliated statements and live streams. Let's see. They say that they're Hezbollah and they are Hamas. An unidentified female speaker told a cheering crowd at the event before leading a chant of death to Canada, death to United States, and death to Israel. I don't know. I don't feel like those are Canadian values. I don't feel like any of those are Canadian values. I don't think we need any of this. The sad thing is probably half of them are probably professors at Canadian universities. I guarantee you there's some professors there at this protest. There's a point, right? Like where there's some things that just people who want to actually destroy your civilization, you don't need to tolerate them. I think those are the ones you can just kind of safely say, we don't need that. Maybe these guys, maybe it's time for these guys to leave. Like the ones who want us all to be dead, apparently, death to Canada, who want the country to not exist. Maybe we should ask them to leave now, politely. It shows how sick. Where's the rest of the fucking story? I can't find it. All right. Things happen. All right. So, in any case, all they do is cause trouble and promote violence and call for violence. And they have now been listed as a terrorist group. So what does that mean? Does that mean that Trudeau immediately gives anybody who needs permanent residence, or just he go personally and hand them all out passports? I don't know. I don't know what it means. I doubt very much he liked having to do this. Again, he doesn't want to lose the terrorist vote, right? So what does this actually mean? God knows. Probably nothing. They'll probably just keep operating. It probably won't matter because it's Trudeau's Canada. But anyway, maybe it's progress. I don't know. Let's see. Streamer says, however, at a certain point, it's just treason. Yeah. Well, I think death to Canada sounds like treason to me. They're all, by the way, it's all Marxism underneath it. They want to do that because of colonial reasons and empire and a bunch of bullshit. Underneath all of this is the same suspect. It's the usual suspects. It's fucking Marx and Engels. It's fucking Marxism. Anything terrible in the world today, when you look underneath it, it's fucking Marxism. All right, let's move on. All right, Jesus. The news just isn't getting any better, is it? Well, I mean, this is good news that they're taking some action against this group. I don't believe that anything will actually happen is the problem. They'll all probably just immediately become, anti-colonial professors at McGill or something. Sex trafficking of immigrant children triples under Biden-Harris border policies. Don't you remember how Trump was a monster and kids in cages and separating families? I said back then, I said, well, okay, it seems like there might be a perfectly rational reason to separate children from the adults to find out if they're actually their parents or not, because obviously, if you don't know, we know that there's human trafficking across borders. That there is going to be some percentage that it's just human trafficking for horrible reasons, right? So it seems like the responsible thing to do, even though it might be difficult in some situations, the responsible thing to do would be to make sure that these are actually the children of the people claiming they're their children. Because we know that horrible, horrible shit happens, and there are horrible, evil people out there, right? So the responsible thing would be to protect those children as much as you can. That's the thing that would make sense, right? That would be the responsible thing. And you would have heard that from a responsible media, from a media that's job was to speak truth to power, or just find out the truth, or just inform the public. You would have heard that from a media that functioned like that. You didn't hear that because all you heard was that Trump's a monster, and you had AOC pretending to cry outside of that parking lot in her little white outfit. Right? That's what you got. People who are totally indifferent. They're totally ethically and morally indifferent. They're totally morally and ethically dead inside. And they will say and do anything for power. Do they care that this is what they unleashed? Do they care for a second? Fuck no. Obviously not. One of them would break. If one of them had a conscience, they'd break, right? They'd say something. Sex trafficking of immigrant children triples under Biden-Harris border policies. Report. They don't care. They knew this would happen. They had to know this would happen. Right? Again, back when they were excoriating Trump for being such a monster, who could be so cruel? Any sensible person said, well, no, of course you've got to find out if these children are actually the children of these adults. Obviously, for obvious reasons. We know horrible, horrible shit happens. And there are evil people out there. So they must have known. Didn't care. Right? 640,000 criminals let in amongst the millions that they incentivized and facilitated crossing the border. They had to know that would happen. 13,000 murderers already convicted. That's just the ones who are already convicted. They don't care. They don't care. Crime is way up in Canada. Trudeau does not care. His goal is to flood the country with as many people as possible. Does not care. The UK, Keir Starmer, does not care. They don't care about the consequences. They're totally indifferent to the well-being of the people. They have different goals. They're not your goals. Or they're not the goals of somebody with a conscience. Nearly all the sex trafficking rings now are migrant girls. The ads exploded within the first 3 months of the border being open. The Free Press reported that the extent of sex trafficking is being posted at the Department of Health and Human Services. The agency issues certification and eligibility letters to minors when they have been subject to sex traffickers, often only after they have been able to escape. That number of letters is 3 times what it was during the administration of President Donald Trump, the outlet noted, and those only reflect the numbers of children who are able to report the incidents. Where are the journalists asking about this? This is on the Post Millennial. You're not going to see this on CNN. You're not going to see it on their airwaves. You're not going to see it on their website or MSNBC or the New York Times. They're not going to take any interest in this because all of a sudden, they've lost their moral outrage. They've lost it. I guess they used it all up on Trump. Again, it's a machine and it's utterly indifferent. It's like a Terminator, right? Can't reason with it, has no empathy, has no conscience. It's just going to keep going. And it's going to find people like this to be the face, to be its face. Puppets to be its face. People with no conscience also don't care. Where's AOC? Where's Oliver? I guess she used up all her empathy during the Trump years. I guess she used up all of her moral outrage in the Trump years, I guess. Nevada says AOC is a big-time commie piece of shit. What? How could you say such a thing? All right. Let's see. Hold on, guys. I need to get some nicotine into my system. We're going to move on to the next story, so I'll take a look at the chat real quick here. Let's see. Streamer says, it's just that at some point you would be afraid to burn the flag of your country in its capital. That's no longer true. It is. I think the media actually likes it, right? That's probably why they do it, because they get on camera and nobody will say anything bad about it. They will tacitly endorse it. Oh yeah, Rosie says hair, teeth. She's talking about Justin Trudeau here. Hair, teeth, and a slight learning disability. It's true.
I have a slight learning disability.
I love his little smile at the end there. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Let's see. Nevada says, I hope she loses her next election. AOC? Yeah, she won't. She'll run somewhere where the people have been so brainwashed that they will vote for literally anything. They will vote for a rancid bucket of shrimp where she runs. She raises too much money, right? They don't want to lose her. And I think they've kind of got her under control now anyway, so I think we need something nice. I think we need a bit of sanding after those are some pretty dark stories we're dealing with there. So we need a bit of sanding. You know, I often think when I see this that it's almost like there's something else going on in this video other than the sanding, you know? I think the sanding is probably really good for your wrist, I bet. All right, let's move on to something else. We need a nice little break here, a nice little palate cleanser. Salma Hayek, 57 years old. She's looking great. She is looking fantastic. Look at that. All right. Oh, you know what? I think it's time. We're an hour and 26 minutes in. We've gone a little bit longer than usual. I think it's time to cut off the YouTube stream, and we're going to just keep going ahead with Rumble. So anybody on YouTube watching right now, please jump over to Rumble on your phone or on your smart TV or on your Roku or Apple TV or Chromecast or whatever. Fire Stick, or I don't know. There's probably a bunch I don't even know about now. Jump over and watch the rest of the stream. We'll be going for a while still. But unfortunately, we have to end it off on YouTube now because there's censorship problems. So hopefully we'll see you soon. If not, hopefully we'll see you on Rumble. If not, we'll see you Friday night, 7:30 Pacific time.